Hello and welcome to our first week of our eco-spirituality focus for Awakened. Eco-spirituality is obviously a fusion of two different words, ecology and spirituality, two words that ought to go together very well, but unfortunately in the West we haven't quite figured that out yet. In fact, some in the West see those things as dichotomous, but I think Eastern traditions really have this right, that faith ought to be rooted in ecology. Because if the divine is present in the midst of all living things, then God is certainly present here in the midst of nature. And immersing ourselves in nature is a way of encountering God. I think that's one reason that why when people are asked where they experience God, one of the most common answers is in nature. Because God is more palpable when we are outside in nature. So today I am out on a walk, and if you're able to get out on a walk, I think that that's a great way to engage in a spiritual practice. I'm not great at sitting down and praying, but I am good at being outside and moving. It helps me to clear my mind. It helps me to focus and to think outside the box. Some of my best ideas come when I am outside and my mind is freed. If you're not able to go on a walk, maybe sitting in a natural space is something that could be life-giving for you. Or if you're not able to be outside, just seeing nature can be life-giving. You know, there are studies that show that if you're in a hospital and you're recuperating, that you can recuperate faster if you can see nature. If you can see trees, you're more likely to get better quicker. You know, I think it's unfortunate that Christians have done such a poor job of caring for the earth. I mean, I know that all of humanity has not done a great job of caring for the earth, but Christians have manipulated theology in a way that is incredibly unhelpful. We read those opening chapters of Genesis, and we hear that God gave dominion of the earth to human beings. But that does not mean that we can do with this earth whatever we want. It means that we are entrusted with its care. And the authors of the book of Genesis were striving to communicate that connection that human beings have with nature. And I think that's especially true in civilizations like we find in the ancient world, where people were intimately connected to the land, more so than many of us are today. I think one of the powerful things that we find in those opening chapters of the Bible is the call to care for the earth and the recognition that God is a part of all of this natural earth and that God has claimed it all as good. I love those opening chapters in Genesis where God looks out at everything and calls it good. Matthew Fox calls this the original blessing. So many Christians focus on original sin, on us being marred by this sin of Adam that makes us inherently bad, but I prefer to focus on the original blessing. Not only because original sin was invented by Augustine and is terrible theology, but because original blessing is so life-giving when God looks out and calls all of nature good, including us. I mean, how does it reframe theology when we think of ourselves as fundamentally good instead of fundamentally bad? Doesn't that change the way that we think about ourselves in this world in which we live? This week, our spiritual practice is to be outside. Be outside. Literally stop, smell the roses, take your animal for a walk like I'm taking my dog for a walk right now, and take a deep breath and enjoy. May you encounter the living God as you experience God in the midst of nature. May it be so, and thanks be to God. Amen.